Thanks, Tim, and welcome to another week of this week's sports update. A little bit of a different look at the beginning here because I have a very special guest with me, head coach of the girls basketball team, Amy Lepley. Amy, very nice to have you in as always.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll start off by kind of, rehashing kind of the season in general. 13-1 you guys sit overall. I mean, I think everybody on the outside looking in would say you guys are having an incredible season, but as a coach, what have you seen through the first 14 games?
I mean, my girls know that I'm very tough on them. Even last night, we had a win over Holliston, and I'm just never satisfied. I always think that we can play better, and that might drive them a little bit crazy, but I hold them to a really high standard. I always have done that for myself, and I do that to them, and I think that they appreciate it, but I mean, 13-1 is amazing, and the fact that we're so young is awesome, but we can always do better in different areas.
And you mentioned it, kind of a great segue into my next question is, the squad is a very young squad, no seniors on the team. It's really just a good group of freshmen, sophomores, and juniors kind of putting it all together. Is there any sort of challenge or maybe even sort of advantage of having such a young squad going up against other teams in the Tri-Valley that might be more experienced?
I think it's a little bit of both. There's definitely challenges in the sense that I think that sometimes we have a hard time playing to our level instead of playing to the level of our competition, and I think that's part of just being young. But the advantages of them being so young is that they just love to be with each other, and it's really awesome to see. There's so much young energy, and they're so energetic, and they're always laughing, and it's just a really fun team to be a part of.
And this is the first year, not just for your program, but for everybody, is the first real test run of the Tri-Valley League. So, the Westwoods, the Ashlands, the Hopkintons of Massachusetts, you guys go up against them on a regular basis. So as a coach, what has kind of been the biggest hurdle to jump through transition-wise to go from the Bay State to the Tri-Valley? Has it been easier? Has there been, advantages or disadvantages there?
I think it's kind of exciting because it's totally new. And no teams really know us. Well, they do now, but no teams really knew us. I think the challenges are just knowing everybody's style. I mean, a lot of the teams are playing different zones that we've never seen before, whereas in the Bay State, it's more of just man-to-man. So just kind of being able to adjust from game to game. But we do get a lot of game film, so we watch it as a team a ton. And now that we're going through the second time, we can really see those ins and outs of those teams.
And I was going to say, I think the film and kind of the game planning aspect of it is definitely just probably the biggest challenge for you, because it's new. When you see Westwood and Hopkinton, you guys have never played these teams before.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's probably one of the bigger challenges.
Yeah, I like it though. I love game planning. I love watching film. I always have. So it's kind of enjoyable for me to kind of pick apart teams and see where their weaknesses are and where their strengths are and kind of relay those to the girls.
Stay tuned for the full interview soon, but in the meantime, the girls basketball team recently dropped their matchup to Walpole by a final score of 52-42. We start this week's recap over at Hopkinton High School. The boys and girls track squads were in action against Medfield. Although both teams came up a bit short in the final scores, we had some strong individual finishes from some of the athletes. Let's throw it down to Tim Rose and Kevin Sisk, who talked to some of our winners.
All right, Myra, so you just took first place in that race. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was a weird surface. We don't usually practice or race on this surface, so I was pretty nervous.
And how does this race compare to your others that you've had throughout the season?
Well, this one actually had 4 hurdles. We usually do 5 because it's a 45 instead of a 55, so definitely a different setup.
Awesome.
Now I'm here with Liam Fogarty, senior sprinter. Liam, you just secured a first place victory royale in the 600. How was your race today?
It was good. I don't know my time yet, but it didn't feel like a PR, but I was glad to get the win.
How did you handle the short track?
It was weird. The start was weird. It's usually 3 laps at the Reggie, but here it was 4.5, and it was a weird race, but I got it done.
We take you closer to home to the Westwood pool, where swimming and diving met Westwood for the final home meet of the year. It was a packed pool this past Tuesday. It was loud. So loud that, in fact,
I can't even hear. I know, it's so exciting.
That's how loud it was. Although the final score was a win for Westwood, check out the finishers here for Norwood. The first relay team took home first place to start the meet off strong for the Mustangs. Some other notable first place finishers were Victor Green in the 50 freestyle, Kate Wilkinson in the 100 freestyle, and Michaela Jordan in the 100 breaststroke. Not only was that good for first, but a time good enough to qualify for states in a couple weeks. Michaela Hurley, who will also be moving on to sectionals, placed second in the 200 individual medley, and the tail end of the meet included a first place freestyle finish at the 400-meter relay. Congrats to all the swimmers and divers on a great meet, and good luck to those moving on to sectionals and states. Back at home, the wrestling squad took over the gym for their senior meet against Hopkinton. Some strong individual performances, including wins from both Kevin Curtis and Cordell Souther. As you can see on the face of determination of Cordell Souther, he secures a senior meet win to cap off what was a 51-27 victory over the Hillers on Wednesday night. Over at Bagco, it was Teacher Appreciation Night for the girls hockey team. Annakin's faculty came out to support the girls in uniform, and you could say the support gave them the boost they needed because the Mustangs cruised to a 9-1 victory over Dover Sherborne. Thank you to the teachers that came out. Boys hockey was in action this week as well. Looking to stay on pace to make the tournament, they pick up a win over Acton by a final score of 3-2. Boys basketball also battled former Bay State Fort Walpole, and they dropped their game to the Rebels 58-50. Gymnastics, who continue to trend upward, have again established their dominance on the mat. They beat the Medway Mustangs by a final score of 139.25 to 134.75. And I have an update from Norwood Nuggets hockey coach Mark Hoover and some news around youth hockey. The Pee Wee C team has been dominating this season, so much as to be bumped up from the Yankee Conference to the South Shore Conference. They made it to the finals of the District 3 Tier 4 state playoffs and are continuing to have a fantastic season. Offensively, Ryan Doyle and the Brearley twins have been strong. Defensively, Harrison Hugh and Diego Martinez have locked down the blue line, and Sam Gurney and Jack Whitney have gotten the job done between the pipes. Well done, guys, and we look forward to hearing more from the Pee Wees as well as all the teams in youth hockey in the coming weeks. And that's all for sports this week. As always, you can catch up with all the scores and scheduling updates by following NHS_Mustangs on Twitter or visiting NorwoodMustangs.com. And last but not least, go Pats. Now back to Kristen with more Norwood news.